Welcome to the tutorial for 3.5, Ruin of the Jedi. Most of the difficulty in this level resides in one room, which will be a primary focus. With this in mind, we've given this level a difficulty rating of 4 and an RNG rating of 3. Goal times here should reflect gradual growth with your skill, as this is a pretty standard level. Let's begin. As the cutscene ends, press tag to swap to Yoda, then slash once for some extra movement. Space your double jumps and follow this line to the door. Once you are up against the door, quickly hold neutral, force the door, walk forward one step, and do a well-spaced slash into the transition. If you jump slash too early, the camera pan skip will fail. Spam slash through the transition. Space double jumps up to the red pillar, with one of them being a buffer jump to put Yoda in the correct spot, like so. From here, there is a beginner and an advanced strat. For the beginner strat, you can force the staircase and proceed up. For the advanced strat, you can make a jump from the top of the red staircase all the way across the gap. The staircase jump can be pretty tricky and can lose a fair amount if you fail, so keep in mind how important your edge jump is here. Once you've made it up, continue doing spaced jumps. Once you get close to the gears at the end, force the left red cover first, followed by the right cover. Next, jump into this spot behind the right gear. You can force the farther gear when it comes up, and after it's done, you can stay in the very same spot and force the closer gear. Wait a second before moving after the forces to avoid taking damage and dying, then enter the next room. The next room is the library. This room is home to one of the largest drop-in warps in the entire game, fittingly known as Library Skip, which is performed at the end of the room. First, switch Yoda to Obi-Wan immediately as you enter the library, then call in player 2 as Yoda. Obi-Wan will need to be on controller for Library Skip, so if you are on keyboard, simply call in Obi-Wan as player 2 on controller instead. Space double jumps with both players and take a straight line to the box with the power-up. You may do a buffer jump here to optimize your movement over to the box with Yoda. Do a ground attack, then grab the power-up with Obi-Wan. Do ground attacks with Yoda to kill these two clones on the left while walking forward with Obi-Wan. Turn around with both players once you're here, and do a double slam with both of them to kill the rest of the clones. If there are any clones still alive, try and kill them with Yoda if you can, as he is not the bottleneck and can catch up faster than Obi-Wan. After the troopers are dead, head towards the door with both players. As you move to the door, ensure you keep Yoda behind Obi-Wan and take this line to the door. Do not veer off of the path in any direction. As you reach the door, jump onto this platform with Obi-Wan. As you do this, pan the camera upright between these two angles on the stick. Position Yoda against the door within these boundaries. Stop moving with Yoda and wait until he is completely still. While you do this, position Obi-Wan here on the platform, letting this line in the wall divide his character roughly in half as a visual cue. Make sure that the camera is fully panned upright and drop out. It is crucial to wait until the camera has fully panned upright before executing Library Skip, otherwise your AI will not have time to pathfind behind the door. An easy way to tell if your camera is panned up enough is if Yoda has disappeared from the screen entirely, including his lightsaber. To perform Library Skip, simply single jump with Obi-Wan and call Yoda in once you have reached the peak of your jump. There are a few visual cues you can use to time this call-in, as it is rather precise. One option is to watch Obi-Wan and, once he starts falling, call in Yoda. This is the most common option. Another option is to watch the background and wait until you see the camera stop moving upwards to call him in. A final option is to call in when you see Obi-Wan fully disappear behind this arm, but only do this if you are confident that your positioning before jumping is extremely consistent. After you drop in, hold down and jump slash into the transition to enter the end room with Yoda. If you jump too quickly after pressing down, you may get a backflip, so be sure to press the inputs with this timing. If you miss Library Skip, a number of things may have gone wrong. The most common mistake is mistiming the call-in. If you called in too late, Yoda will likely spawn at the door where you dropped him out. If you called in too early, he will likely spawn all the way back here, which is much more costly and can distort the camera and AI pathing. Another common issue is attempting the trick too fast. Make sure that you have let Yoda fully stop moving and the camera fully finish panning before even attempting the trick. Going too fast can cause the trick to miss, even if you pressed the inputs otherwise perfectly. If Yoda warped all the way back here, bring him over to this spot on the ground, then move him to the door and simply attempt it again. Otherwise, position Yoda at the door as normal before re-attempting the trick. As you enter the end room, start holding upright on Yoda and forward on Obi-Wan. Force confuse the troopers with Obi-Wan and land here with Yoda. Take one more step forward and, once you've reached this mark, force the wheel to end the level. Be sure to continue forcing the wheel if your force is interrupted by a trooper shot. Once you have finished the force, drop out Yoda. Note that if you got a redroppin' in Kashyyyk, you will also want to drop out your controller player first to clear the redroppin'. There is also an advanced strat here to skip the Yoda dropout at the end of the room using an auto dropout. This is rather difficult and takes some practice, but can save half a second to a full second if done properly. When entering the room, continue as normal, but instead of force confusing the troopers, stand here with Obi-Wan and deflect the first shot the troopers shoot at you. Make sure Obi-Wan is in the way of Yoda, preventing him from getting shot and having his force interrupted. Hold block until all of the troopers are dead. Once the wheel is fully forced, walk over to this spot on the floor. While you do that, follow this line with Obi-Wan by holding this angle on your controller. Make sure that Obi-Wan either goes down this ramp or falls off of this ledge, which will cause Yoda to get auto-dropped out. Note that if you do fail this, and both players are dropped in entering Vader, the first room will become very difficult to execute properly with the advanced strat. This concludes the Ruin of the Jedi tutorial.